lots 2 and 3, that application is not complete, and the applicant has requested that the matter be adjourned to the next meeting. Is there a motion to accept the request for adjournment, understanding we will toll the time for the board to act on the application?
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, and the next meeting is September 19th? 16th, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So anyone interested in the Citizens Bank application, 555 High Street, I'm sorry. Block 127, lots 2 and 3, that is not going to be heard tonight. It's adjourned to the September 16th meeting. No further notice will be provided, and it will not be heard tonight.
Okay, next, application 2024-5, 160 and 175 Madison Avenue. The applicant is Memorial Hospital, 20 West Snow Drive, Evesham, New Jersey. The applicant seeks bulk variance approval to allow additional signage.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Bob Baranowski. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Highland, Levin, Shapiro, and Marlton, representing Virtua on this application before you this evening. I also have with me, to my right, Ms. Julie Herb. She is the Vice President of Facilities Development for Virtua. And behind us also is our signage professional, Mr. Dennis O'Hara. He's with Compass Signs. As indicated, the sign variance application pertains to 160 Madison Avenue, which is an ambulatory surgery center, and 175 Madison, which is the hospital. And the application is for additional signage to improve visibility and identification of both buildings. There are a number of variances triggered by the application before you. They are accurately set forth in your planner's review letter from ERI, dated August 9th as to 160 Madison Avenue and August 12th for 175 Madison Avenue. Anything else I would tell you by way of overview, I think would be better stated by Ms. Herb and Mr. O'Hara. And if I may, I can introduce them and have them sworn in to give their testimony.
So for the board's reference, I did review the notice provided by the applicant, and it was timely and sufficient. It relates to 2 different properties, 160 and 175 Madison Avenue. We're taking it as one application all at the same time because it's the same organization and they're contingent properties. So I will swear in the witnesses. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this board?
Yes,
Right.
I do.
If I may, I'll start with Ms. Herb, and I'm going to give her the podium and kind of stand up a little bit, and she can tell you more about the nature of the proposal and what we're asking the board to allow us to do.
Thank you. So good evening. Thank you for your time this evening. We very much appreciate it. What we're attempting to do with this signage is to really create more of a main entry point to the hospital, that being the 175 Madison Avenue address. The entrance is set back a bit from Madison Avenue. We do plan to upgrade all the landscape in that area, along with our larger plans that this board will hear us on in the next few months relative to the expansion of the hospital. This is really a first step to really identify that main entry, dress it up, make it look like a main entry, and make it more visible to oncoming traffic. One of the things that we noticed as you travel northward on Madison, it's not as easy to see our brand up at the top of the hospital toward that main entry point. So that is something we're looking to accomplish by our application this evening. 160 Madison, which is the ambulatory surgery center, it's across the street from the hospital. We used to have that under a joint venture situation, so it was not wholly owned by Virtua, even though it was on our campus. There were partners in that surgery center, physician partners. We did purchase the entirety of the surgery center. That's why it was not branded before as a Virtua building. It has been incorporated under our Virtua hospital license with the Department of Health. And as such, we would like to brand it as part of the hospital campus, since it is now considered under Department of Health to be part of the hospital campus. And that would be in summary, what I'd like to contribute at this time.
Okay, thank you, Julie, and if there are no questions you'd like to hear from Mr. O'Hara, he's got the sign package he can hand out to walk you through the details, kind of sign by sign, location-wise for each property.
Just for, sake of clarity, as I understand it, it's a pretty basic application for bulk variances. As I understand it, there's no issues with completeness. Okay, so, is there a motion by the board to deem the application complete based upon the planner's recommendation is complete, just for sake of jurisdiction proceeding?
We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mr. O'Hara, we're gonna turn it over to you, and I think you have a handout. I can assist you with that, so you can,
Well, let me, have control here.
go ahead, take over. He's done this a few times.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to start with, 160 Madison Avenue, and, I have drawings, to share with everyone. If you wanna help.
Sure.
I've got 7, so there might be some sharing taking place.
Each one, what am I handing? This is
Everything.
everything.
All the new signs.
One of these
that
to
we
every
see-
person.
Well, I have 7 copies. Would you please share?
And do me a favor, our steady board secretary is not in today, if you would email us electronic copies, tomorrow, that'll be fine, because that way I can have them make part of the record. So this will be A1?
Yes, thank you. Maybe we'll, did you get a copy?
I did not, but I'm okay.
Mr. Chairman.
No, we can share it.
You have a copy?
Not the board members, so they don't have it.
Dennis, you have a copy left to go through?
Yes, I have my own.
Do you have a copy?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I did review the August 9th review letter by your planner. I'll need help saying his last name, but if I could refer to him as Timothy.
That's fine.
I have no problem.
So, just for the application, was this part of the submission package?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
I've seen it before, okay. So,
Yes.
when we were, I'll have to mark it as exhibit A1, if it's part of your submissions, just tell us what sheet it was and so forth as you go through it, okay?
Okay.
Sounds fair.
We'll start, with the drawings that say, virtual health ambulatory surgery. That could be A1. And then your planner also asked to include signage that currently exists at 160 Madison, and I gave you copies of that. But what we're starting out with is on the curved canopy, we're recommending a set of internally illuminated channel letters that read Virtual Health, Mount Holly Hospital, and to the right of that, ambulatory surgery. Below that is a color bar that is part of the branding of Virtua. The color bar is not illuminated, and we also included new 160 address numbers. We'll be removing the teal color numbers and placing them to the left side of the building. These letters will be internally illuminated, the Virtual Health, Mount Holly Hospital, ambulatory surgery, and that vertical bar separating the copy with LED illuminated modules. There'll be a white acrylic face, and the logo Lotus will also be translucent in a multicolored finish that blends with all the other branding that has taken place at the hospital campus. There's a variance required for the amount of projection of the illuminated letters. Rather than penetrating the brick curved canopy with 2 holes per letter, we recommend mounting those to a raceway, which is 5.5 inches deep. That houses all the wiring, all the power supplies that illuminate the letters. And we will dramatically reduce the number of penetrations in the building and connect to a power source, provided by the hospital's electrician. So that's the one variance because of the projection that exceeds what's allowed. We're also asking to, reface an existing directional sign at the entrance to the side of, the surgery center to read guest parking, ambulatory surgery, with an arrow pointing in on both sides. It's double-faced, it's non-illuminated. That sign exists today, we're just putting new faces on each side of the sign. So that covers. Oh, also, on the front entry door, let me go back to the directional sign, which, is 5.88 square feet. I believe you're allowed 2 square feet, so we're asking for a variance. The existing sign was approved by the board, and there was no issues with that. The channel letters, Virtual Health, Mount Holly Hospital Ambulatory Surgery Center, are 58.5 square feet. I believe your planner does note that in his review. Just the facade of the curved canopy is 391.5 square feet. If you include the Madison Avenue elevation of the building, it would grow dramatically. So I think what we're asking for, if you included the entire facade of Madison Avenue, is something that's roughly 5% of that facade, if not less. And there's no other signage other than what we're proposing to go on the building. And as I mentioned, the directional is 5.88 square feet. We're also proposing some lettering, vinyl lettering on the glass entry door. Presently, there's 2 sets of letters, one on each of the automatically opening doors. We're recommending going back with just one set that reads Virtual Health, Ambulatory Surgery, 160 Madison Avenue. That encompasses 3.18 square feet. If you take just the one glass area, which is roughly 3 by 7, that's 21 square feet. The overall of all 4 windows, and I'm on page 7 now, if you're on page 7, would be 84 square feet, so we fall well within what's allowed as far as the vinyl lettering. So we're gonna take that as 8.1. Are there any questions so far?
Is the increase to the directional signage that you discussed, the 5.88 square feet, that just to assist people in wayfinding so they know that they're at the right place and where to park?
Right. And we highlight the surgery center there, plus, patients and visitors coming to the hospital also use that parking lot as well. I've also included, as your planner had requested, what signage exists on the site. And I guess it would be A2. You should have a drawing in front of you, 145805-3, which shows the existing monument sign that's on the property. It's on the Madison Avenue side of the property, the surgery center side of the property. We received a permit for this sign several years ago, and we're not doing anything different to that sign. It's 15 square feet, and it is illuminated as was approved by the board. I also included, I guess we'll use A3, drawings that look like this, that show banners that exist on the ACS or ASC. There's 13 banners there that was approved by the planning board back in 2021. They're not illuminated, and they highlight some of the services that are performed, such as stroke care, orthopedic and spine, and several others. Again, they were approved, but they exist on the property. Also on the property, and this would be A4, is an existing awning that was replaced back in 2022. The awning that was previously there was ripped and falling apart. So we provided, a new awning, the exact same size as what was there previous, and this did receive a permit. The awning is where people exit from the surgery center and dropped off, or picked up by people once the procedure is completed. That takes care of 160 Madison. Are there any questions?
Dennis, you have another handout for 175.
Yeah, but I just want to do through 160. The plan also says, addressing the proofs are listed above. The applicant should discuss the number of existing identification signs on the project track, which I did, together with their location and areas. Their locations are shown.
Yeah, I was more concerned with the facade sign, so,
Okay.
yeah, so I think you more than covered.
Okay, you did mention compatibility of these signs with the other signs.
And they are.
And they do meet all of the branding criteria for virtual. So we're done 160, let's move to 175.
Those are your notes for, this is 175.
Yes.
These to hand out, and
Yeah.
these to hand out? Just the packets, or this too?
No, this plus the package, because they wanted to know what else is on the site.
Have enough for
There's 7.
7. All right. We'll do those first? Okay, we'll do those first, then we'll do the next one. All right. These are now handouts for 175 Madison. We'll give you one sheet, and then we have several
This
sheets.
be A1 for 175, then?
Yeah, sure. So everything else that you've already described was already in your submissions, right?
Yes.
I mean, I was fine, I have the submission stuff. Okay, and this is the same thing, it's in your submissions for 175?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the new sign that's being proposed.
That's a lot of large copies. You have that sheet for yourself.
This is A1, is that, this is?
Yes, this will be A1. This is the proposed sign that will be on 175 Madison Avenue on the hospital campus. And your planner calls out the size is 101 square feet. This sign will be a duplicate to an existing sign on the opposite side of the tower. As you're coming southbound on Madison, the hospital on your left, there's one of those existing now as we speak. Now I have, the planner asked for other signs that are on the facility. We can pass those out that show existing signs and the compatibility of the brand and logo. It's up to you, Howard. We'll do whatever you like.
Yeah, I think if you want to show what's out there, I think so.
Sure, okay, I have another package for you, multi-page packet. This is 175. This is our last one, this is all the paper you ever wanted.
Thank you.
Back in 2021, the set that you're seeing is dated 2022. That's the as-built drawings of the signs. We came before the board in 2021 with the brand new branding of the hospital logo. And when we were before the board, the existing signs that preceded these totaled 874.88 square feet. The new package, which you're seeing now, back in 22, reduced the overall square footage by 345.5 square feet. A dramatic reduction back in 22 that was there previously. So what we're adding with the new sign is 101 square feet added to the 345.5 square feet that exists today. And that still keeps us well below the previous 874.88 square feet. The new logo is internally illuminated with LED lighting, identical to the existing Lotus logo on the opposite side of the building. So again, this new sign complements the existing branding type of signage. There's also, in the package I distributed, shows the existing signs that were changed out in 2021. Just to give you a concept of the entire campus of what's there now. So without any further from me, is there any questions?
So this basically, this sheet right here is
Is what we're seeking, yes. But I wanted to give you the overall of the
Yeah.
campus and have the compatibility of the branding.
Yeah, and again, I was just wondering about what the total facade area was, just because you're asking for a variance, and it's in addition to that, because I think the way the ordinance is, I mean, I think you're allowed 12 square feet. I mean, I know it's a crazy ordinance, I don't know why it was set up that way, but maybe because it's offices, and I think what they envisioned was like individual offices is why it's so
Yeah,
small in
right.
area.
Now,
But
this
as you can see, for the mass of the hospital, the square footage of the signs, almost, I won't say de minimis, but it's not, it's well within, the size of the building.
And as Ms. Erb, mentioned, as you're coming northbound on Madison Avenue, especially 8 months out of the year when there's leaves and whatnot on trees, you don't see the hospital until boom, there it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And, we do have identification signs at the corner of Madison and South. And as you proceed further, you get to the entrance for the patients to be dropped off and whatnot. And this sign would be very helpful for identifying that entryway.
So the square footage of the facade as proposed is, we don't,
It's not even a consideration.
well, it's just you're really looking at the percentage in relation to the mass of the building. Because usually we do say the facade, the current facade is 120 square feet, we're looking for 140. But this is
Massive.
large. Do you have an estimate? Just so we.
No, I do not. I know the area is 15 foot wide, and I believe the drawing shows the height above grade.
Ms. Gardy, do you mean an estimate of the whole entire total square footage of the facade itself?
I think these are the way to do it, is the facade on where the sign's being attached. So it'll
Okay.
be this one wall, which again, it's pretty large.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about the measurement of the building, the measurement of the sign.
This is,
The sign is 101 square feet.
Okay. And so in relationship to the mass of the building, Tim says it's very small. Okay.
I'm sorry, I
I
didn't
misunderstood.
understand that.
That's fine.
thank you. All right, if there are any questions for the witnesses, we're happy to answer them. The only thing I would say in summation is that I think you would find, and you can find, I'm asking you to find, that the benefit of having the signage that's proposed outweighs any detriments associated with non-conformance to your ordinance, as you've heard the discussion. The scale of the building is massive, and the ordinance really is intended for maybe different purposes than what we have here. So it's important for visibility and identification and wayfinding for people to be able to find the surgery center and the hospital more readily, and I think these signs contribute to that and enhance that ability. So, thank you for your time listening to that. I know you want to hear from your professionals and the public, and we're ready to answer any other questions.
Any more questions from the planner?
No, they've answered all my questions. I mean, they met the requirements. I mean, this provides better identification, which enhances safety, people trying to get into the hospital. I mean, it helps with the branding of the hospital. They're all kind of uniform with what they already have out there. And so, it's met the criteria.
Questions from members of the board? Comments?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. It's a very interesting logo. And is there any symbolism beyond the fact that it's a V from virtual? Because it almost looks like it's an animal or organ in your body, or, it just seems like it
There was
should
no
add.
intended significance of that nature. We had, upon acquiring the Ward's Health System, July 1 of 2019, we knew that we had to rebrand as one. We had some exterior marketing folks as well as our internal marketing folks work together on this brand. And you know, obviously it was decided by Virtua that it was a very attractive logo. It did afford us in many cases to be able, as Mr. O'Hara commented, to minimize some of our signage because it was much more prominent as far as catching your eye and much more appealing than the navy and gold that we had previously. So really up against our buildings, we felt it gave a very nice look, and it was very tasteful, and it added a little bit of color as well. So that was really to my knowledge anyway, that's the basis for it.
That does all that too. It really
Thank
jumps
you.
out.
I'll open this to the public. Any questions or comments from members of the public on this application?
Arlene Pfeiffer, 494 Mary Street. What is the,
Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Arlene
I'm sorry,
Pfeiffer.
Ms. Pfeiffer?
494, how bright is it gonna be?
I
The net,
didn't-
the net rating of the LED lights?
Just, hang on.
Sorry.
What's your address? 494.
494 Mary Street, Mount Holly.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this board?
Yes. I just had a question for the how bright the light's gonna be, the nit rating on it for outdoor usage, cause it's still a residential neighborhood. And, I love that the signage would be great, everybody has a phone to find where they need to go, but how bright is that gonna be for our residents? It's not a commercial area, you're gonna have that signage, 3 feet high? So I'm concerned about our residents, and we already have that neon line sign on High Street that's quite bright. Just wondering how bright that's gonna be, if anybody knows.
It's about 3 stories high, isn't it, Jim?
Yes.
Yes.
It'll be no brighter than the existing Lotus that is on the opposite side of where we want to install this. And I believe there's timers that shut it off at a certain time. So it's gonna be identical to what you've been experiencing so far.
3 to 5,000.
Right, and it doesn't shine across Madison Avenue. It's as you're approaching coming from the north, you'll be able to see it.
Those are my questions, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you, specify what the shut-off time is going to be for which signs?
I'll check with the hospital, and whatever they're turning off the existing signage, we'll maintain that same thing.
Yeah, we could definitely get you that information. I'm not sure if it's a dusk to dawn or whether they have a more limited time frame. I don't know if it's a photo cell or not. I don't know if you know that, but
No, I think it's a time clock that's
So no change in the
the current
correct, no
lighting
change.
Okay,
situation.
that's all I need. Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the members of the public? The public portion closed. I haven't had a solicitor read. I think we got a motion.
So the applicant has, presented testimony with respect to their sign package for 2 adjacent properties. They provided testimony as to the branding. They've agreed to, provide some updated, refreshed landscaping, is that fair to say, next to the hospital entrance? And this is for the purpose of making the hospital entrance more visible, so that people who need to use the hospital, park there, go there, can see it more readily, so it's safer wayfinding. And then it's also cleared with the branding across the street at 160, for the surgical, the surgical center?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Yes.
Right. Right, and so they provide testimony on that as well. Board's planner has said that they've met the criteria for the positives, that way the negatives. The hospital is a inherently beneficial use, so that, providing better signage and wayfinding is a benefit for the public good. And they've also agreed that the illumination will be, the same style, and the cutoff will be the same timing, and they provided justification for, not coating the facade with all these drill holes, that they'll be able to do that, and that's the reason why part of it sticks out. And based on the mass of the building, the styling, they provided testimony to, address the variances sought. So for, 175 Madison, they need, variance relief for, to have two, more than one facade sign per lot, and then the variance for the bulk, 101 square feet for that one facade sign, and then to allow the projection, as I just described, and then for 160 Madison, they're gonna take it all as one, we need bulk variance to permit the additional, facade sign, to allow the square footage of, the identification sign to be 58.26 square feet, where 12 feet is permitted, but they provided the testimony, to allow the, informational directional signs to, be 5.88 and 3.18 respectively, so variance relief is needed for that, and also for the facade signs projecting more than 6 inches from the area, and then for the window signs, which are new and enhanced and colored and actually being reduced, so they need the variance relief for 3.18 square feet. Yeah, almost over
I
that.
missed it.
Okay, yeah, the first to allow the one professional sign per lot to have the, to allow the additional one, right? So based upon the testimony presented, the summary and the conditions agreed to, is there a motion to grant the variance relief as stated?
Motion.
Item secretary.
Township Kevin,
Yes.
Nicole Saltier,
Yes.
Dean Parker,
Yes.
Robert Adler,
Yes.
Stephen Stafford,
Yes.
Darlene Green,
Yes.
Lou Barney.
I don't vote, so we're good. That's fine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for also sharing exhibits where needed. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have a couple of resolutions. Resolution number 2024-14, application 2024-2. The applicant is F. Galante LLC, approval of a minor subdivision, bulk variance relief and design waivers for the property identified as block 84, lot 65, more commonly known as 15 East Monroe Street. We have a motion to approve this resolution.
I motion to approve.
A second.
All in favor? Opposed? And resolution number 2024-15, application number 2023-7, Mount Holly Garage LLC, extension of time for,
So just to explain, this is an extension of their time to file their permit, or their application for their subdivision. Just allows an extension because they're getting jammed up on time based upon some back and forth with the professionals. So this just guarantees them, gives them extra time. We had a brief discussion of this at the, June meeting. So this is just memorializing this so that we can give them the written document. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
yeah,
Township Kevin,
yes.
Nicole Saltier,
Yes.
Dean Parker,
Yes.
Robert Adler,
Yes.
Stephen Stafford,
Yes.
Darlene Green.
Yes.
Okay, any additional comments from the planner? Thank you. Comments from the engineer's not here, comments from the solicitor,
Nothing, thank you.
comments from the secretary. Thank you for coming in. And then comments from members of the board. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Did we call for general comment?
Oh, I'm sorry, comments from the members of the public.
Good evening. My name is Louis Lopez, 911 Square. I'm just curious, any update on our grant Save the World project? Any information?
Which project?
the Grant Street, the bridge.
Yeah, that,
I think that got canceled, didn't it?
Oh, you know what? I think you're correct.
Yeah, cause they just kept extending, so I think it's just gone.
Okay.
They have to reapply
If I'm
for it.
correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
public portion is closed. Now,